So, I normally don't do this, but I am taking a little bit of a pause while I'm doing my routes. I'm actually working right now. So I want to give my 2 cents on Boogie, or rather give Boogie a piece of advice. So as someone who at a point had a pretty successful YouTube channel, I'm talking about myself, and eventually became super depressed, neglected to upload videos, and didn't stream, didn't really do much on the channel, and as a consequence of that, my income depleted. It was just like, you know, I was making really good money one month, decent the one following, okay-ish the one after that, and then it just kept going downhill until eventually I made just about jack shit. So as a person who's been through that, I can tell you that being depressed or having some kind of emotional instability is obviously gonna become a huge hindrance when it comes to finding a job or uploading videos. You know, I saw Critical's video on the Boogie situation. For those of you who don't know, Boogie is now being accused of faking having cancer, which is kind of a huge accusation. He has refused to provide any evidence of this claim. The way by which he's explaining the diagnosis doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He's like, oh yeah, I've been diagnosed with cancer. They're like, okay. He's like, and therefore I am going through a cancer diagnosis. It's like, wait, hold on. So you've been diagnosed, and because of that, you're going through the diagnostic process of finding out if you have cancer. Like, you either have it or you don't. Like, it's really not that complicated, but I'm not a doctor. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me personally. But I guess, yeah, I saw Critical's video on Boogie, and at one point he suggested, or well, flat out told Boogie that, you know, hey, you know, you don't really need to do this crypto scam shit to make ends meet. You don't need to lie about having cancer so that you can solicit donations from your audience, what remains of it. What you can actually do is just churn out videos and actually try to make really good content and monetize that. You know, you have a sizable channel, way more so than most people do. It's not impossible to make ends meet if you're willing to put in the time and effort to make enough videos to make that happen. There are plenty of things you can do that don't involve deceiving people or acting as though you have cancer when you have not been diagnosed with cancer, which, by the way, it's probably, I don't know, like there are a lot of things that I would not put past Boogie, but that was one thing that I did not expect. Who knows, maybe he actually does have cancer and he's just doing a fucking terrible job at explaining his situation. I don't know. I can't say for certain. I don't have access to his fucking medical record, which, by the way, he's refusing to share any kind of like paperwork or official, you know, proof of him having this diagnosis, supposedly, because in his words, it's none of your business, it's my personal business, or my private business, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, you made this public in the first place. You announced on Twitter that you've been diagnosed with cancer, and then you're like, well, you know, I'm going through the diagnostic process to find out, but I you know, I do have it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, do you have it or not? And if so, yeah, you should probably provide some evidence, especially considering that there's currently an $80,000 offer on the table. A bunch of these bigger YouTubers have gotten together and they're like, you know, we're gonna give you all of this money if you just provide, you know, the paperwork to like a third party or any kind of evidence to a third party so that they can confirm that, yeah, you do have this diagnosis. He's refusing to do that. So it's like, okay, you need money for medical expenses, but when offered $80,000, you're not going to take it. It's a really confusing situation, but the point that I wanted to make, and I'm going to try to be brief about this because I've spent about 5 minutes talking. I should get back to my route, but I wanted to suggest to Boogie that you just get a job. I mean, if you're incapable of making videos frequently such that you can actually monetize it and generate enough revenue to the point where like you can pay your living expenses. If you're incapable of doing that, then you should just get a job. You know, the job that I have is, you know, I'm a postal worker. That's what I do. I'm not expecting Boogie to do what I do because it is somewhat physically demanding. I mean, you can tell by my face that I am a bit overweight, but you know, not to the same extent that he is. Not talking shit or anything. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if he physically could handle that, but I do know for a fact that like there are plenty of jobs that a fat person could do, a person of Boogie size. You know, there are people with all kinds of disabilities and health problems that still clock in, do their job, and clock out and come home, and they have responsibilities. They don't do this like crypto scam shit on the internet, and they don't try to solicit donations by claiming to have cancer and then refusing to provide even a lick of evidence of that claim. I would urge anyone in a situation where, like, you know, you just can't live on the money you're getting from like a passive income or somewhat of a passive income to just go get a fucking job, even if it's just like part-time. Do something. Like I said, I gotta get back to my route, but as somewhat of a YouTube has-been myself, I would just recommend that, you know, you find something else. Find something that speaks to you, because obviously this YouTube thing is not making you happy. You come off as like this incredibly vindictive, bitter, and miserable person. And I think having a job that, like, you know, it becomes part of your day-to-day routine and something that involves having responsibilities and learning how to cooperate with people that you don't necessarily agree with on everything. I think that's healthy, and it's a necessity for most people in this world. So those are my 2 cents on this. Take care, all right?